Yeah, good evening, all the students. So now we are in day 2 of the workshop on programming using Python data structures. So yesterday we have seen the introduction about data structures, and we have seen the features of Python, and how we are going to read the input from the keyboard in Python language. Okay. Now in today's session, we are going to see the control statements available in Python language. Then after that, we are going to see the concept of strings in Python language. Okay, because control statements are very important for developing any projects, or for writing any programs. You must know the control statements available in programming languages. That's why in today's session, we are focusing on control statements available in Python language. Let me give me a minute. I will share the screen. Just a minute. Is it visible? The notepad is.
Yes, sir.
Visible.
Yesterday, I told you the purpose of control statements is to control the flow of execution. Whenever you wrote the program as a programmer, you have to control the execution of the entire program. That can be done by using the concept of control statements. These control statements can be available in almost all programming languages. If you know C language or C++ or Java or Python, almost in all languages we are using these control statements for writing the programs. Okay, so yesterday also I told you there are generally two types of statements in Python. One is selection statements, and the second one is iteration statements. They are the two important types of control statements available in Python language. First one is selection statements, and second one is iteration statements. Coming to the selection statements. So as the name implies, selection means these statements are used to execute, are used to select a particular set of statements based on the condition. Okay, based on condition, these statements are used to execute a set of statements, are used to select a set of statements. That means here in selection statements, always first we are going to evaluate the condition first. Based on the condition value, so that condition is either true or false. Always whenever you are at the condition, that condition evaluates to either true or false. Based on that condition, we are going to execute a particular set of statements. If the condition evaluates to true, we are going to execute a set of statements. If the condition evaluates to false, we are going to execute another set of statements. So based on the condition only, we are going to execute the particular set of statements. So here in Python language, our Python language supports the following selection statements. One is if statement, second one is if else statement, and the third one is nested if else statement, and finally the last one is if, elif, and else statement. The four important selection statements supported by the Python language: if statement, if else statement, nested if else, and if, elif, and else. This final thing is also called as else if ladder. Generally, in other programming languages like C or C++ or Java, we can call it as else if ladder, but here we can use if, elif, else statement. Okay. These are the four different formats of if statement we are going to use, which are coming under the category of selection statements. Okay, I think already you people already familiar with all these statements, but even though you know these statements in other programming languages, there is a slight difference of syntax in Python language, because in Python language, yesterday I told you, there is no curly brackets, there is no semicolons. Okay, that's why the syntax of these statements in Python language is slightly different than the other programming languages. Okay, so the first statement is if statement. Okay, so the purpose of this if statement is, whenever you want to check one condition, based on that condition, if you want to execute a set of statements, then obviously you have to use this if statement. Okay, the syntax of if statement in Python language is, we are going to write if followed by condition followed by, you can write a colon here. Okay, if condition followed by colon, you have to write. Okay, and then here you have to follow indentation. In Python language, it is very, very important. We have to follow indentation. Okay. Yeah, this is the statement N. Once we exit this one, we can execute statement X. Yeah, this is the general syntax of if statement in Python language. If followed by condition, and here colon is important. And here one more important point is, Python language always follows the proper indentation. Okay, because in Python language there is no flower brackets, there is no curly brackets to indicate the block of statements. Okay, so to indicate the block of statements in Python language, we are following a indentation. Okay, so indentation means we are giving some proper space for the statement like this. So if you write if condition, some semicolon, and followed by some statement like this by following some space, then we consider all these statements, statement 1, statement 2, so on, so statement N, all these N statements are considered as one block. Okay, if the statements are all are in same indentation, that is considered as one block of statements, because in Python language we don't have the curly brackets, whereas your in C language you have to write if something like condition, and you can write curly brackets there. In here we can write statement block, then you can write like this. This is the syntax in either C language or C++ or Java language. But here in Python language there is no curly brackets. Instead of writing curly brackets, we have to use indentation. That indentation is specifying the block of statements which are associated with the if statement. Okay, that's why we are following the same indentation for all these statements. Okay, so indentation plays an important role while writing the Python program. Sometimes you will get the errors like indentation is failed, or there is no proper indentation like that. Okay, so definitely whenever you are at the Python program, you have to follow the proper indentation. Okay, so if you use you need not worry about the indentation, because if you use any Python editor, obviously when you type the if condition, obviously it gives the indentation automatically. Okay, there is no need to worry about indentation for the programmer. That will be automatically done by the what we call the Python editor. Okay, let me show you the Python editor here. Okay, this is the Python editor. This is the online compiler. Okay, yeah. So here Okay, here I want to write something like this. Age is equal to int of input of enter your age. I am reading one integer value from the keyboard. That is, we are using the input function. As I told you, this input function always accepts the input in the form of strings. That will be typecasted into integer whenever it is required. So here age is of type integer. So we have to typecast that one into integer by using the int function. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to check if age is greater than or equal to 18. For example, I'm writing condition. What is the syntax for if statement? If followed by condition kada. I'm writing if condition followed by colon. When I write colon, press enter button. If you see, there is a space here. That is the indentation that will come automatically. You need not worry about indentation here. If you use Python editor, then obviously the indentation will come automatically. Okay. You are eligible for, or you are eligible to cast quote. Okay. If the age is greater than or equal to 18, we can print some message like you are eligible to cast the vote. Okay. And here we can write print some end. Okay. Is it visible? The program is. Hello. Hello.
Visible, sir.
Yes, sir,
program.
it's visible.
Yeah. Otherwise, I will increase the size also. No problem. Yeah. So this is the simplest program we are using for simple if statement. So if condition colon, then you can write some set of statements here. Then followed by the last statement is this is not related to if statement. This is out of if statement. If condition is false, the program will print end. When I run this program, it will ask for the enter your age. If I am giving like 25, then it will print that you are eligible to cast vote and followed by end. Because this condition is true. If the condition is true, then this statement is going to be executed, followed by this is going to be executed. If the condition is false, directly go to the end statement. Am I right? Suppose I'm giving the 15. That 15 is greater than or equal to 18. Condition is false here. So directly will print only end. Okay. So in this syntax, if condition evaluates to true, all these n number of statements are going to be executed, followed by statement X is going to be executed. If condition evaluates to false, directly the control transfer to statement X. These statements are not executed. Okay. Is it clear? That is very simple if statement here. Okay. Then the next one is if else statement. Okay. If else statement. So this if else statement we are going to use whenever we have the two alternatives. Okay. Whenever we have the two alternatives, from the two alternatives, if you want to select one thing, then you have to use this if else statement here. Okay. So like we can write the condition. If condition, we can write statement block 1 else we can write statement block 2. Okay. If the condition is true, statement block 1, otherwise statement block 2, followed by we can write statement X. This is the general syntax of if else statement in Python language. First we write if condition followed by colon, then some indentation, then statement block 1, else again colon, statement block 2, finally we can write statement X here. First the condition is evaluated. If the condition evaluates to true, then statement block 1 is executed, followed by statement X is executed. Okay, if condition evaluates to true, statement block 1 is executed, followed by statement X is executed. If condition evaluates to false, then directly we go to the else block. We are going to execute statement block 2 followed by statement X. Okay, if condition true, else block is skipped. If condition is false, this block is skipped. Directly we go to the this block. Okay, in any one of these situations, like if condition is true or false, this is going to be executed. That is statement X. This statement X is an optional one. Okay, statement X is an optional one. You can write or you cannot write, or you may write or you may not write also. Okay, that is your wish. Depends on your program requirement. You may write the statement X or you may not write the statement X also. That is your wish. Okay, but it is not mandatory to write the statement X always. Okay. Let me write one example here. So if you want to check biggest of two numbers or the largest of two numbers, if you want to write, you have to use if else statement here. Okay, so first I have to read one number, that is an integer number. So int of what I can write, input of enter first number. Okay, the prompt is enter first number. Then b is equal to int of input of what we can write, enter second number. So I am reading two integer numbers from the keyboard, first number and second number. Both will be stored in the variable called a and b. Then after that, I am going to check whether this, I'm going to check which one is the largest one. So I'm going to write if a greater than b colon, condition followed by the colon. Then I can write printf a is largest number. Else you can write printf b is largest number. Okay, if this condition is true, then we can print a is the largest number. Otherwise, we can print a b is the largest number here. Okay, is it clear? When I run this program, it will ask for enter first number. If I give 10, second number 20. Sorry, by mistake I wrote printf here. Yeah, when I write printf, it will ask for first number, second number. Yeah, b is the largest number here. Okay. Okay, now, or if you want to print that number, you can write like this: a, comma, you can write is largest number, or you can write b, comma, largest number. Enter first number, enter second number. See here, what is it printing? 20 is largest number. If you want to print that number value, you can write that variable name here followed by is largest number. Here there is no concept of format specifiers. In C language or in Java language, you have to use format specifiers to display the value of the particular variable. But in Python, there is no concept of format specifier. Directly you can write the variable name a, and you can write whatever you want to print as a string. A is largest number. Here you print A value followed by is largest number, B value followed by is largest number. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this statement here, what we are writing, if A greater than B, print some else, print and rasnar kada. We are writing 4 lines of code. The same 4 lines of code we can write in a single line. Can anyone tell me how we are going to write in Python? Anyone having any idea? Anyone having any idea? We can write these 4 lines of code. If condition, print, else, print, these 4 lines of code, it is possible to write in a single line. How we are going to write? Hello? Anyone? You can type in the chat box also. Anyone having any idea? By using ternary operator. Yeah, ternary operator is one way. By using if else also, you can write in single line in Python language. Okay, ternary operator is the one of the best way to write the if else statement in single line. That's why ternary operator is called as simplified if else statement. But here, what I can write here is print. Earlier, what I write? A is largest number followed by if A greater than B, A greater than B, else print B is largest number. Okay, in a single line we can write like this: print A is the largest number if A is greater than B, else print B is largest number. When I run this program, it is asking for first number. If I give 25, second number I am giving 12. So 25 is the largest number. See? So yesterday I told you, if you see the Python program statements, it is like an English statement. Am I right? Because there is no proper semicolon, there is no curly brackets. If you read the Python program at any point of time, it is like a English statements. That's why this is the easiest coding or easiest program for learning. So if you see, this statement is like a simple English statement. Print something if A greater than B, else print something. Am I right? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is it clear? So that's what we can say. Python is a very easiest and simple language. You can write whatever you want. You can write. That means by following the control statement syntax, you can write whatever you want. It is like a English statement. Print something if condition, else print something. Okay. Elegant రాసుకోవచ్చు. That's why Python is more popular today. So there is no proper syntax, there is no proper semicolons. That's why it is very easy to write a program for beginners also. Okay. That's about if else statement here. Okay. The third one is nested if else statement. Okay. So nested if else means one if else statement we are going to write within the another if else statement. Okay, we are going to write one if else statement within the another if else statement, which is called as nested if else. Okay, so this nested if else statement we can use when we are going to check multiple conditions. Okay, when we are going to check multiple conditions, then we are going to use this nested if else statement. The syntax here is if condition 1 colon, then we can write if condition 2, if condition 2, then we can write statement 1. Okay. Clear? Then we can write here else statement 2 and else, sorry, if condition 3 statement 3 else statement 4. Finally, you can have statement X. This is the general syntax of nested if else statement. We are writing one if else within the another if else. Again, if else within the another if else. This is called as a nested if else statement. Okay, we are going to nested means within one thing. So we are writing one if else within the another if else statement here. Here the execution will start from condition 1. First we are going to check the condition 1 here. If condition 1 is true, then we are going to check condition 2. Okay, if condition 1 evaluates to true, then we are going to check condition 2 here. If condition 2 also evaluates to true, then statement 1 is going to be executed. Okay, ఈ రెండు ట్రూ అయితే కనుక statement 1 is going to be executed. Suppose condition 1 evaluates to true, but condition 2 is false. Then we are going to execute statement 2. Okay, if condition 1 is itself false, then directly we can go to the else block and we are going to check condition 3. Okay, if condition 3 evaluates to true, then we print or we execute statement 3. Otherwise we execute statement 4. Okay, that is the general execution nature of nested if statement. Okay, condition 1 true అయినప్పుడు we are going to check condition 2. If this one true, this is also true, we are going to execute statement 1. Condition 1 is true and condition 2 is false, we are going to execute statement 2. If condition 1 evaluates to false, we are going to check condition 3 here. Then we execute statement 3. Otherwise we execute statement 4. Okay, either after execution of statement 1 or statement 2 or statement 3 or statement 4, the control will be transferred to statement X. Okay, after execution of either statement 1 or statement 2, statement 3, statement 4, the control will be transferred to statement X here. Okay, that is the general execution nature of nested if else statement. Okay, and now we are going to write the program by using the nested if else. The program is largest of 3 numbers. Okay, the program is largest of 3 numbers. So we are going to read 3 integer numbers from the keyboard. So int of input of, we can write enter third number. Okay, we are reading 3 numbers here, A, B and C. Okay, then after that we are going to find out which one is the largest number among these 3 numbers, which one is the largest number. For that we have to first compare first number and second number. Okay, what is the first number? A. What is the second number? B. So I'm going to check if A is greater than B or not. Okay, if A is greater than B or not, we have to if A is greater than B, then we have to compare the first number with third number also. Okay. First we are going to compare the first number with second number, and if the first number is greater than second number, then we have to compare the first number with the third number. Am I right? So I can write one more condition here. If A greater than C. If this is also true, I can print A is largest number. Okay. Otherwise, that means A greater than B is true and A greater than C is false. Then we can say which one is the largest number? C is the largest number because A is greater than B, but A is not greater than C. That means C is the largest number here. Otherwise, that means if the first condition itself false, that means A is not greater than B. Then you have to compare second number with third number. Okay. A is not greater than B and B is the largest one. Then we have to compare B is greater than C or not. If B is greater than C, we can print B is the largest number. Otherwise, if B greater than C is false, then we can say C is largest number. Okay. Is it clear? If this is true, we are going to check this one. If both are true, A is largest number. If this is true, this is false, C is the largest number. Otherwise, B is largest number. Otherwise, C is again largest number. If you run this program, it is enter first number. I am giving 7 here. Then I am giving 9. Then I am giving 5. It will print 9 is the largest number. Okay, 7, 9, 5. 9 is the largest number here. Okay, like that you can write the nested if else statement in Python language. Okay, students, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's way, in that way we are going to write the nested if else statement in Python language. And the last one is if and else statement. So the purpose of this if else statement is whenever you want to perform the multi-way branching. Okay, whenever you want to perform the multi-way branching or multi-way selection. When we have the multiple ways or multiple selection options or multiple options are there, among that if you want to select only one option, you have to go for if, elif and else statement. Okay, that is also very, very important. By seeing the problem statement as a programmer or as a developer, you have to choose the appropriate control statement. Okay, that is also very, very important for programmers. Problem చూడగానే మీకు దాంట్లో if వాడాలా, if else వాడాలా, లేదంటే if nested if else వాడాలా, లేదంటే while loop or for loop, that you have to decide. Okay, that is very, very important. Okay, so this is used for multi-way branching here, or we can say multi-way selections. Okay, so here we can say the syntax is if condition 1, we can say statement 1. If we can write condition 2, sorry, and statement 2, then if condition 3, then statement 3, so on. So final else block we are going to write statement n. Okay, yeah, so for every condition you put semicolon, that is mandatory, colon, colon and colon, here also colon. There is no space between EL and IF. That is a keyword. ELIF, ELIF. That means else if condition 1 statement 1, else if condition 2 statement 2, else if condition 3 statement 3, otherwise followed by else statement n. First we are going to execute this condition 1. If condition 1 evaluates to true, then statement 1 is going to be executed. Okay. Condition 1 is true, statement 1 is going to be executed. If condition 1 is false, then you are going to check the condition 2. If condition 2 is true, then statement 2 is executed. If condition 2 is false, then we check condition 3. If this is also false, condition 4. That is also false, condition 5. Like that, if none of the conditions are true, then final else block is going to be executed. Okay. If none of the conditions are true, then obviously the final else block is going to be executed. That is statement n is going to be executed. Okay. Hello. That is the else if ladder, or we can say if elif else statement. Okay. So now I'm going to write one simple program, that is we want to check whether the given number is positive or negative or 0. Okay. We want to check whether the given number is positive or negative or 0. Here we have three options. Either it is positive or negative or 0 here. So for checking whether the given number is positive or negative or 0, first you have to read one input number. So I have to write int of input of enter a number here. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to check whether that number is greater than 0 or not. If it is greater than 0, that number is the, what is that number? Positive number. Else if a less than 0, then you can print that is a negative number. If the above two conditions are false, that means not greater than 0, not greater than less than 0, then we can say that is a 0. Okay. Here we have only three conditions, two conditions only. A greater than 0. If this is true, we print positive number, otherwise negative number. If both are false, we can print that is a 0. If I run this, it is asking for enter a number. If I give 9, it is a positive number. Okay. If I give -7, it will give negative number. Okay. If I give 0 here, it will print 0 here. Okay. Like that, you can use the if, elif, and else statement. Okay. So generally, whenever you want to find out the roots of quadratic equation, or whenever you want to perform the arithmetic operations using the symbol operator, for such programs you have to use this if, elif, and else statement. Okay. Here also this entire 6 lines of code you can write in a single line. Okay. Earlier I wrote in what we called if else asangada. I code write. What we can write? Print. What is the first print? Positive number if a is greater than 0, else print negative number else print a negative number if a is less than 0, else print 0. Okay, we can write only a single line. So when I run this program, it is asking for enter a number. If I give 6, it is printing పాజిటివ్ నెంబర్. ఓకే, ఇలా కూడా రాయొచ్చు మీరు. ప్రింట్ పాజిటివ్ నెంబర్ if a greater than 0, else print if a less than 0, else print 0. Okay, ఎలా రాసినా you will get the output. Okay, that's why always I told you to my students, you can write the program in n number of ways. Okay, it is not like that there is only one way or there is only one logic for the program. It is possible to write the program in n number of ways. Okay, but obviously the aim of the program should be achieved. That is important. Okay, so you can write the program in or with your own logic. Whatever logic you can use it. But the output should be the same for the program. The aim of the program should be same. Okay, that is very, very important. Okay, so the same program we can write in n number of ways. Yeah, then next one is that's about the if statement. We have seen if statement, if else, then next if else, and finally we can see if, elif, and else statement. Now the next one is, this is also very, very important for the programmers, that is iteration statements. So iteration statements or iterative statements means generally iteration means we can say repetition. Okay, iteration means repetition. That means whenever you want to execute a set of statements or block of statements repeatedly, then you are going to use iteration statements. Okay, to execute a set of statements, repeatedly, we are going to use iterative statements. These are also called as loops. In all programming languages, these are also called as loops. Python supports two kinds of loops. One is while loop and second one is for loop. There is no do while loop in Python. Okay, so we have only while loop and for loop. Whereas in other programming languages like C, C++, Java, it contains do while loop and for loop. But Python supports only two loops, for loop and what we call while loop. Okay, the first one is while loop. The syntax of while loop is while, we can write condition, colon, then indentation, then you can write a statement block. This is the general syntax of while loop. While condition followed by statement block here. Okay, first the condition is evaluated. If the condition evaluates to true, then the statements available in statement block is going to be executed. After execution of all the statements, the control again come back to the condition. If condition is again evaluates to true, again statement block is executed. Again control transfer to condition. If it is again true, again statement is executed. Again condition. This will be repeated until the condition becomes false. Once the condition has become false, then this while loop will be terminated. That means we are going to execute this statement block repeatedly until the condition becomes false. Okay, that is the execution of while loop. Okay, while condition followed by statement block here. Okay, first the condition is evaluated, then we can write the statement block. Okay, now hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you have any doubts or if you have anything, if you want to know, you can ask me immediately. I will tell you. Okay.
Sir, there are some queries in chat box.
Chat box. Yeah. What is there in chat box? Yeah, how many spaces are required for unit of indentation? So generally for indentation, it is like one tab space. Okay, But we need not worry about indentation. Whenever you are using IDLE or Python editor or any editor, that will automatically give the indentation. Okay. So for writing Python programs, always we are using Python IDLE, or we can use Python editor, or you can use online editor like this. You can use any Notepad++. If you use any editor, obviously the indentation will automatically comes. We need not bother about the indentation. Okay, but mostly we can say it is a one tab space. Okay. Then here the while loop program. This program we are going to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, we are going to print the numbers from 1 to 10 here. Okay, so in order to print the numbers from 1 to 10, we have to use one variable, that is I is equal to I is equal to 1. I am taking one variable I, and in that variable I am storing 1 here because I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10 kabatti. Then I am going to write a while loop. While here we have a condition. We have to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So this I value should be up to 10. So I less than or equal to 10 and followed by colon. I can print I. Okay. I am printing first I. Then I can increment I value. What I can write? I is equal to I plus 1. Sorry. Equal to I plus 1. First I value 1 untundi. 1 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true here. So it will enter into the while loop. Then it will print 1 here. Then I will be incremented. I becomes 2 now. Then again go back to condition. 2 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Then 2 will be displayed. Then I becomes 3. Again condition. 3 less than or equal to 10. Then 3 will be displayed. Then I becomes 4. Like that, this while loop will be repeatedly executed until I becomes 11. So if I run this program, you will get the output like this. See here, the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The numbers are displayed line by line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Ala kakunda, if you want to print the output in a single line, 1 space 2 space 3 4 ala ravalankondi, you have to use one parameter in print function. Okay, the parameter named as end. Okay, whenever you want to print the same, so the output in the same line, you have to use one parameter, that parameter named as end. For that end parameter, we are giving some value called as space. That means by using space, it will print all the numbers within a single line. Okay, I comma end is equal to some space and raste ganaka, it will print the output in single line like this. See here, 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4, 5, 6 up to 10. Okay na? Adhamainda? Hello? See here, what is the output here? Here I'm using end is equal to comma. Then what happened? 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 like that. That means this end operator is used as a delimiter. Okay, between each number or between each output symbol, what is the character you are going to print? Okay, so you can use either space or some other symbol. That depends on your program requirement. Okay, అలా కాకుండా మీకు లైన్ బై లైన్ రావాలంటే డైరెక్ట్లీ కెన్ యూస్ ప్రింట్ ఆఫ్ I. Then obviously we will get the output in line by line. 1 in one line, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like this. ఓకే, అలా కాకుండా సింగిల్ లైన్ లో రావాలంటే యూ కెన్ గో ఫర్ లైక్ దిస్. ఓకే, ఇస్ ఇట్ క్లియర్?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That is the while loop, and you can write so many programs using while loop. Okay, that you can practice. Okay. Then next one is for loop. Okay, so this for loop can be used when the programmer knows how many times the statements are going to be executed. Okay, if the programmer knows exactly how many times the statement block is going to be executed, then the programmer should use for loop. Okay, whereas while loop we can use when the programmer does not know how many times this statement is going to be executed. Okay, but for loop we can use how many times the loop or the block is going to be executed. Okay, the general syntax of for loop in Python is, here we can write loop control variable in sequence. Loop control variable in sequence, and this is the general syntax. For is the keyword and followed by loop control variable. Whenever you use any variable within the for loop, that variable is called as loop control variable. నార్మల్ గా మీరు సి లాంగ్వేజ్ కానీ జావా కానీ రాస్తున్నప్పుడు మీరు ఏం రాస్తారు? ఫర్ లూప్ అన్నప్పుడు ఫర్ సమ్ వేరియబుల్ నేమ్ ఇస్ ఈక్వల్ టు 0, సమ్ I less than n, సమ్ I ప్లస్ ప్లస్ ఇలా రాస్తారు కదా. Then this variable I is called as a loop control variable. Whatever the variable you are using in the for loop like this, that variable is called as loop control variable. So ikkada kuda Python lo you are going to write one variable here, that is called as loop control variable. In the place of loop control variable you can write one variable name, either a or b or I or j, x, your wish, and followed by in. In is the keyword in Python language, followed by sequence. Okay, sequence, in the place of sequence you have to write either string or list or tuple or set. Okay, in the place of sequence in Python language you have to write either string, or you can write list, or you can write tuple, or you can write set. Later we will see how to write list, how to write tuple, how to write sets also. Okay, but in the place of sequence in for loop you have to use either string or tuple or list or set. Okay, ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే in this for loop, for each iteration one item in the sequence is copied into the loop control variable. Okay, sequence means it is a collection of values. Okay, string gaani, list gaani, tuple gaani set తీసుకున్నప్పుడు there is a collection of values. ఏమవుతుందంటే for every iteration the one element or one value from sequence will be copied into loop control variable, and this process is repeated until we reach the end of the sequence. Okay, until we reach the end of the sequence here. Okay, for example, let me tell you one example here. For కనిపిస్తుందా ఇది? for what is the syntax? Loop control variable kada. For the variable name is I. In I am writing one string here. The string is Shreyas, for example. Okay, I am writing the string in the place of this sequence, that is Shreyas, followed by colon. Okay, then I can write print of I. I am printing print of I here. Then what happened here is, here the string Shreyas contains 6 characters. Am I right? Then first time, for first iteration, the first character capital S will be copied into the I, and first print lo we will print capital S. Then next, small r will be copied into I, then small will be displayed. Then next, E will be copied into I, E will be displayed. Then Y, then A, then S. When you reach the end of the string, this for loop will be terminated. Okay. Adhamotna. When we reach the end of the sequence or end of the string, this for loop is going to be terminated. Let me show you the same example here. For I in Shreyas, then for the colon, then I can write print I. Okay. If I run this program, see here, in first line it will print S, then R, then E, then Y, then A, then S. First capital S will be copied into I, that will be displayed here, then R, then E, then Y, then A, then S. Okay. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah, that is the one way of writing the for loop in Python language for the loop control variable in sequence. This is the one way of writing for loop. Another way of writing for loop is by using a range function. Okay, we can use by using the range function. You can write the for loop. That means the purpose of this range function is to specify the range of values. To specify the range of values, we are going to use this range function. By using range function also, it is possible to write the for loop. Okay. The syntax for loop using this range function is like this. Syntax is for loop control variable in followed by you can use a range function. Okay, for loop control variable in range, and for this range function you can pass either one parameter or you can pass two parameters or you can pass three parameters. So first I will tell you range function with one parameter. Okay, range function with one parameter. Then we will see range with two parameters, range with three parameters. Okay, so in the only parameter we are passing only the end value. Okay, we can write a statement block for loop control variable in range of end. Here end specifies what is the ending value. Okay, what is the ending value? That means this range function generate a sequence of numbers from 0 to end minus 1. Last meaning ఏంటంటే this function will generate a sequence of numbers from 0 to end minus 1. Okay, అంటే for example మీరు ఇలా రాశారు. Example, if you write like this, for I in range of 11 అని రాశారు. I in range of 11 and you are writing print of I. Okay, for I in range of 11, the end value is 11. That means this function will generate the numbers from 0 to 11 minus 1 అంటే 0 to 10 వరకు వెళ్తుంది అది. Okay, first 0 will be stored in I value, then 0 will be displayed, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 up to 11 minus 1. This for loop is going to be executed. Okay, we are specifying the end value here up to 0, from 0 to up to n minus 1. The for loop is going to be repeatedly executed. Okay, in that way you can write the range function with one parameter. Okay, you can see here range of I can write 11. Then I can write print I and I can write and equal to some space so that I can print the output in single line. If I run this program, See the output? 0 to 10. 0 to 11 minus 1. This program or this for loop is going to be executed. Okay. So range function with one parameter means we are going to specify only the end value. Okay. Then. Nana. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because this is very important. Range function with two parameters. So if you want to learn the Python language perfectly, you should know all these things. For loop control variable, loop control variable in range of, here you can specify two parameters. The first parameter is begin value. The second parameter is what we call end value. Earlier we use only the one parameter, that is end value only, but now we use begin value as well as end value. If you not specify the begin value, it starts from 0 onwards here. But here you can specify the begin value also. You can specify the begin value as well as end value here. That means this range function will generate a sequence of numbers from begin to end minus 1. Okay, this will print or this will generate the numbers from begin to end minus 1. Okay, example, you can write like this. For I in range of 1, 11. And you can write print of I. Okay, that means our starting value is 1 up to 11 minus 1, that is 10. It will print 1 to 10. Okay. See here, if I write 1, 11 here, it will print the numbers from 1 to 10. See here, see the output here, 1 to 10. Okay, we are specifying the starting number. If I specify here 6, it will print the number from 6 to 10. See here, we are specifying the starting value and up to the end minus 1, we are going to repeat this for loop. Like that we can write the range function with two parameters. Okay. Okay, now. Then the third way of writing range function is range function with three parameters. Range function with three parameters you have to write. Okay. For loop control variable in range of, we can specify begin value and end value, and we can write the step size. The third parameter is step. Okay. Third parameter here is step. Then statement block. Okay. So here it will this function, this range function will generate what is called numbers from begin value to up to end minus 1, and by default the step size, by default the range function step size is 1. That means earlier in this program or in this for loop, we are not using the step size value. If you are not using the step size value in your range function, by default the numbers are incremented by 1, 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. Am I right? Okay. Then if you use the step value, that is third parameter, then your program or your for loop then pass or then print the numbers after that step size value. Okay. So that step size value may be either positive or negative. Okay. In the place of step size, you can write either positive value or negative value. For example, for I in range of 1, 11, 2 and rasa. For example, for I in range of 1, 11, 2 and rasa. Okay, my starting number is 1 up to the last number is 10. My step size value is 2. That means first I want to print 1, then for that one I want to add 2. That means next number is 3. Next number is 3 plus 2. I want to print 5. The next number is 7. The next number is 9. So in the output, I will get 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Are you getting? Here I can write 1, 11, 2. See here the output is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So depends on the step size value, that many numbers are skipped here. That many numbers are added to the previous number. Okay. Alage you can write the negative values also here. Okay. If you want to write the negative values in the place of step size, then you have to use here begin value is some large number and the ending number will be some lowest number and minus 2, for example. Okay, 10, 0, minus 2. That means my first value is 10. Then step size minus 2 kabatti after this 10 minus 2, we will get 8. We will get 6. Then we will get 4. Then we will get 2. Okay. See here. If I write here, if I write 10, 0, minus 2, I will get 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Okay. Like that, you can use either positive value or negative value in the place of step size in range function. Okay. That depends on your program. Me program batti you can use either positive value or negative value in the place of step size in range function. So in that way, you can use the range function in any one of these 3 ways. You can pass 1 parameter, or you can pass 2 parameters, or you can pass 3 parameters. That depends on your program. Okay. It is not mandatory that every time you have to pass 1 parameter, every time you have to pass 2 parameters, every time you have to pass 3 parameters. Depends on your program requirement. You can pass 1 parameter or 2 parameters or 3 parameters. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then that's about while loop and for loop. Okay. And there are 2 more statements. Already these 2 are familiar to you. Break statement and continue statement. Okay. These 2 things already you know in C language and Java language. Break statement and continue statement. Along with this, in Python, there is another statement called as pass statement. Okay. Break statement, continue statement, and we have the pass statement also. Okay. So what is the purpose of break statement? Anyone tell me? Or anyone type in the chat box also, no problem. What is the purpose of yeah, somebody write, sir, can we use I++ in while? No, not like that. Because in Python language, there is no operator called ++. Okay. Somebody typed. I didn't see that one question actually. Now only I see. Okay. Yeah. So in while loop, see here. Earlier I wrote like this. While I less than or equal to 10, and I write print of I sum end is equal to sorry. And I write I is equal to I plus 1. It is not possible to write I plus plus because plus plus operator is not there in Python. If you want, you can write like this. You can use the shorthand assignment operator. You can write I plus is equal to 1. I'll ask coach. Okay. I plus is equal to 1. That is valid. See here. The output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. But if you write I plus plus, see here, there is an error. Invalid syntax. Somebody asked the question. There is no plus plus operator in Python language. Okay, so don't use plus plus. Instead of using plus plus, you can go for I plus is equal to 1 like this. You can use the shorthand assignment operator. Adi raskochu. Okay. Yeah, somebody typed break statement is to exit from loop. Very good. To break the execution of code, to come out of the loop. Very good. Very good answers. So break statement purpose is to coming out of the loop immediately. We are going to use what we called break statement. So whenever you have the infinite loops also, the infinite loops also can be terminated by using the break statement. So to immediate termination of loop, we are going to use break statement. Let me write some code here. I write I is equal to 1 and while I less than or equal to 10 and I plus is equal to 1. Here I write one condition. If I greater than 5, then I am writing break. Okay. Then followed by I can write print I and end is equal to some space. Okay. If I write the code like this, what happened here is first I value becomes 1 now, then followed by the condition 1 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true here. Then I value becomes 2 here. Then 2 greater than 5. Condition is false. So we print I value. Then next I value will goes to condition again 2 less than or equal to 10, or otherwise you can take I value as 0. That's better. So 0 less than or equal to 10 first 1 ఉంటుంది, 1 greater than 5 కాదు కాబట్టి 1 print అవుతుంది, then మళ్ళీ 2. Okay, then 2 greater than 5 కాదు కాబట్టి 2 print అవుతుంది, then 3, then 4, then 5. Then once the I value becomes 6, then 6 greater than 5. Condition is true. Then we are going to execute break statement. Then immediately the while loop is going to be terminated. Whenever the break statement is executed, immediately the loop is terminated. The control will never go back to the condition again. Okay. So the output for this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because when I value becomes 6, this becomes true, so that this break is going to be executed, so that the while loop is immediately terminated. Okay. Then what is the purpose of continue statement? The purpose of continue statement is to perform the next iteration of the loop. Okay. The purpose of continue statement is to perform the next iteration of the loop. Okay, normal ga if you write any while loop or for loop, what happened here is if you write while loop like this, while condition some, you can write some statement block. Here what happened, when the condition evaluates to true, all the statements in this statement block is going to be executed. Am I right? After execution of all the statements only, the control is again come back to the condition. If the condition is again true, then again this statement block is going to be executed. For example, here if I have statement 1, or I have statement 2, or I have statement 3, or I have statement 4, and I have statement 5. Assume that in this while loop I have the 5 statements. Then what happened? If condition evaluates to true, all these 5 statements are executed. After execution of 5 statements only, the control is go back to the condition. Okay. Ala kakunda in some programs or in some situations, after execution of statement 3, if you want to go back to the condition again, okay, you don't want to execute statement 4 and statement 5. Okay, you don't want to execute the statement 4 and statement 5. Directly after statement 3, you want to go to the condition again. Then you have to use continue statement. Okay, అర్థమవుతుందా? That means by skipping some number of statements in the loop, if you want to repeat the iteration, you have to use continue statement. Are you getting my point? Whenever you have the loop, or if you want to skip some number of statements in the loop, and if you want to repeat the next iteration of the loop, you are going to use continue statement here. That is the main purpose of continue statement. Okay. Yeah. So let me write the same program. I is equal to 0 while I less than 10 and I plus equal to 1. If I greater than 5, in the place of break, I am writing continue here. Okay. In the place of break, I am writing continue. Then what is the output? Then what is the output? Anyone? Anyone? What is the output? If I write continue statement here, what is the output? Chapra. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, not like that. See the output here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here first I value is 0 untundi. 0 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Then I becomes 1 now. Okay. Then 1 greater than 5. Condition is false. So 1 will be displayed here. Then 1 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Then I becomes 2 now. 2 greater than 5. Condition is false. So 2 will be displayed. Then 2 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Then I becomes 3 now. 3 greater than 5. Condition is false. So 3 will be displayed. Then next 3 less than or equal to 10. I becomes 4 now. 4 greater than 5. Condition is false. Then 4 will be displayed. Then 4 less than or equal to 10. I becomes 5. Then 5 greater than 5. Condition is false. Then 5 will be displayed. Then I becomes 5 less than or equal to 10. I become 6 here. 6 greater than 5. When 6 is greater than 5, condition is true. When condition is true, continue executed. That means the control again transfer back to condition, not print. So 6 outundi, mali 7 outundi, 7 greater than 5. Again continue, no print statement. Then again 8, again continue. Then again 9, continue. Then 10, continue. Then 11. While loop is terminated. So it will print only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Whenever the continue statement is executed, the following statements are not executed. Okay. Whatever the statement you are having after the continue statement, those statements are not executed when continue is executed. Okay. Remember that point. Don't confuse with break and continue. Okay. Adhamainda? Then the next one is pass statement. This is the new statement which is not available in any other programming languages. C lo gaani, C++ lo gaani, Java lo ekkada kuda manaki idi pass statement undadu. Okay. So somebody typed, I think 5G6 anukunta. Somebody typed exactly correct. Some 5G6 already typed in chat box. 5G6, yeah, 5G6. Yeah, pass does not do anything but syntactically correct. Yeah, that is correct. So pass statement. So, yeah, pass statement is used when the statement is syntactically correct. When the statement is syntactically correct and do nothing. That means it will not perform any operation. Okay, it will not perform any operation. That means it is syntactically correct. the program will not give any errors. If you write the past statement, that is syntactically correct, but it will not perform anything. That means we can say the past statement is a placeholder. Okay, past statement is used as a placeholder. That means in that past statement, we can write any number of statements in future. Okay, in the place of past statement, we can write any code in the future, because while developing the projects, okay, while developing the projects can be developed by a team of people, not a single person. Okay, projects are developed by a team of people. If one person write the code and another person wants to use the code which is written by the first person, okay, second person wants to use the code which is written by the first person, then what happened here is the second person has to write in the Python program is pass. At some location in the program, he or she has to write pass, so that later in the place of that pass, he or she is going to write the code which is written by the first person. Okay, that's why we can say past statement is a placeholder. Okay, no, that is syntactically correct, but it will not perform anything. Okay, clear? See here, let me show you one example. Let me take a for loop for I in range of 1,6. Okay, and here I can write if I is equal to 3, I can write pass. Print, I can write some statement pass when value is I, and I can print like this. See the output here. What happened? What is the output? Pass when value is 1, pass when value is 2, pass when. If 1 is equal to 3. Yeah, see the output here. For I in range of 1,6. So starting from 1 up to 5. First value 1 outundi. 1 equal to 3. That means condition is false. We are printing 1 here. Not this pass will be executed, not this print. Directly go to this print. We print 1 here. Then I becomes 2 now. 2 equal to 3. Condition is false. Then 2 will be displayed. Then I becomes 3. This is true. Then pass is executed. We print pass when value is 3. That is the output here. Pass when value is 3. We are printing 3 here. Okay. Then after we print 4. After that we print 5. So here this pass is acting as a placeholder. Later in future, you can add whatever the code you want, you can add in the place of pass. That is the newest statement added in Python language that is not available in any other programming languages. Okay, that is the best statement for writing the code in future. Okay, right now we don't have the code to write. Later we can add some code in the place of pass statement. Okay. That's why I can say it is syntactically correct, but it will not perform anything. Okay. There are 3 different statements. We have break, continue, and pass statements. Okay. Is it clear? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear all these topics? If statement, while
Clear,
loop,
sir.
for loop, and the range function, and we have seen what we called break statement, continue statement, and the pass statement. Okay. If you have any doubts, please ask me in chat box also. If you have any doubts, ask me.
Guys, if you're having any doubts, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can even put in chat box.
Yeah,
I think everything is clear.
if you don't have any doubts, we will wind up the session now. Tomorrow we will see the strings concept, followed by we will see data structures in Python. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the
Meanwhile, do one thing, friends. Do one thing. So I will give some programs. Please do these programs if possible. కనిపిస్తుందా స్క్రీన్?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is the program. Write a program to find the sum of digits of a given number. Whether the given number is a strong number or not, you have to write. These three programs you have to practice. Okay.
Yes, I will do it.
Yeah, you will do, and you can send your programs with outputs. Okay, not copy from any other resources. Try yourself. Try with your own logic and try to do the programs. And you can send your answers to my mail av.srinivas@shreyas.ac.in. Program along with output with your roll number. You have to mention with your name, roll number, and program output. You have to send to my mail av.srinivas@shreyas.ac.in. Yeah, in chat box somebody asked that oops. I think somebody typed oops. I think 5G6. Sai Santosh Kumar. That means I think oops concepts you want. Hello, Santosh Kumar. Is he there? Yeah. So I will tell you after the string concepts, I will discuss classes, objects, inheritance, polymorphism, all the things, and how to declare classes, how to write the objects, how to create constructors, all the things we'll discuss. Okay. Okay, I will tell you all the things. How to write a class, how to create an object, how to write constructor, all the things. Okay, I will tell you all the things. Then somebody typed. What is a strong number? You don't know what is strong number? Anybody knows what is meant by strong number? Anyone knows? Yeah. Strong number means nobody is typing. Yeah. Strong number is nothing but sum of factorials of individual digits. Sorry. Sum of factorial of individual digits of a number is same as the same number. That is called as strong number. Okay. For example, మీకు factorials 145 ఉందనుకోండి. Okay, 145. Here we have 3 digits kada. So we have to find out 1 factorial plus we have to find out 4 factorial plus 5 factorial. ఎంత అవుతుంది? 1 plus 4 factorial అంటే 24 plus 5 factorial అంటే 120. ఎంత వస్తుంది మీకు? 145. Sum చేసి సేమ్ వచ్చింది అనుకుంటే that is called as strong number. So ప్రతి digit కి you have to find out factorial value and all the factorials will be added. If you get the same number, that is called a strong number. Okay now? Yeah. Somebody typed sum of factorial of digits are equal to the number. Yeah. That is strong number. So that's the end of today's session. We will meet tomorrow at again 6:30 p.m. Thank you. Thank you one and all.